Jan, how are you this morning?
Okay.
All right, it's 10 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing everybody out with us today. We ask that you guide our hand as we go through the county's business. For any of those that are traveling or sick, we ask that you be with those, protect those that protect us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming today. At this time, any person with business before the court not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the court. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Presentation and discussion of department head, committee, and board reports. Like we're busy.
The number of swine are not going down very fast. Killed 31 last month. And then other people use it.
Did y'all get any?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't know how many, but they were still squealing along with us.
Any further discussion on? All right, court to consider approval of previous court minutes. I didn't see anything.
So I make a motion that we approve the previous court minutes as written.
Okay. All in favor?
Thank you.
All right, court discuss and consider increasing project schedule and staffing.
We did receive CKIF 6 payment yesterday, $51,309. Remains balance budgeted revenue of $419,000 and something, so still have more project work to do this year. I'm about to submit another project one by the end of this week for March, but in April ones. Make sure y'all are training with that.
So we are priming 4131 First Mile this morning. And then we will be hopefully double chip sealing tomorrow. So we'll send to you as soon as we can. And that's all of us. We're all out there. All
Yeah,
of our
so send it
guys
on your sheets, the
that
names.
can be are out there working on things tomorrow.
Well, I think we're out there today.
We're priming, so we just have a guys, smoothing it up, and then our prime is supposed to be in at 9:30, and so we'll shoot that, and then in the morning, we'll start the real job.
Okay, court to consider accepting donations to county entities. Senior center total is nearly $3,600 in donations, and there's a donation from Hillside Memorial Garden in the form of 1,000 yards of filled dirt valued at $3,500. Yeah, that's all.
Motion to accept donations to county entities as presented.
Second. All in favor? Court to discuss and consider contract renewal for the health unit with independent contractor Mike McWilliams. This is a pharmacy contract. We do this every year. It starts May 1st. Good. I don't think there were any changes to it whatsoever.
Well, I know he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Motion to leave him there.
Second.
All in favor? Court to discuss and consider quote from D&H United Fueling Solutions to replace parts of the fueling station. So, found this out recently that, the old equipment that we have, it's the Vita root, that's what it looks like. It's the old 1990s style. Quit working at some point and lost all information. So the information that we needed to turn into insurance is gone. It was quite a bit of it. So it really needs to be replaced. The project total is $26,560.15. This would put us back in compliance with that. And basically what it does is it's the fuel management solution, or it's the fuel management. It tells you how many gallons there are, how much has been used. It's the automatic tank gauge, basically. Now, it works, but we lost all the data. So this will be cloud-based, and we would be able to have it backed up.
It doesn't work very good.
It doesn't work very good, 1990s technology.
Used to use a stick back then. But it is fire.
So I think they still stick.
So we have to pay that.
No,
So it's actually 24,000.
yeah, 24,535. Thank you.
Well, we don't lose the information, so. That fuel station works pretty good.
It has, that has been a lifesaver.
Yep.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
And if you sign it and get it ready, I will get a tax exempt form to send with it so that they will take that tax off of that.
All right, court to consider bids on coffee machines. As you know, we got several bids last week. They were quite a bit different. The lowest bid was the Toshiba. And they gave 3 options: 36 month, 48 month, and a 60 month. So the 36 month is $33.87 a month. Duration of the contract is 121,000. 48 month is $29.61. Duration of the contract is 142,000. 60 month is $26.50 a month, and duration is 159. Comparing that to the Visual Edge. Their lower bid, they had 2 bids. The lower bid is for 39 months and it's $43.71 a month. Duration of the contract is $170,507. So comparing those. Comparing the 39 month, Visual Edge was total $170,507. Toshiba 60 month is $103,350. Difference of $67,000. The 60 month comparable, Visual Edge, if we went with their contract over 60 months, we'd pay $262,318. To Toshiba, we pay $159,000, a difference of $103,000. Now, we do have contract with Visual Edge currently. There is the 60-day period for out clause. So,
From what I've been hearing from some of the department heads is these things don't get repaired very quickly and don't work very well. I think you've experienced that yourself, haven't you?
No, I just feel another deal to update the numbers, they're not doing it electronically like they're used to. I don't know why, they won't.
yeah, and we've discussed that, and I think part of that, I don't know whose end it's on, if it's on our end or y'all's end or what. But there have been some issues that we've tried to resolve, and some have been resolved and some have not been resolved.
Toshiba, that's well. Money,
Yeah. The difference, if you go to Toshiba, the difference between the 36 to the 60-month lease, you'll end up paying $30,000 less if you do the 60-month lease.
Right. That's a little bad.
Correct. Correct. And with the 60-day option in there, to giving them 60 days notice of cancellation, we would negotiate with them or talk to them about what that would end up being. So, my recommendation is to do the Toshiba at 60-month, effective July 1st.
Can I say something?
Well, you didn't do a participation form.
The college uses Toshiba.
Okay.
And they service us very well.
It's a motion and a second, all in favor. All right, thank you. And I'll get with y'all. Okay. All right, thank you. Court to consider certification of additional revenues in the form of funds rebate refunded from Snyder Lumber Company. Angel?
This was a purchase last year, and the reason I have to certify this because it's from last year. It
Gotcha.
is only $19.53, but the law says it must be certified,
Absolutely.
and it was a refund from the check that was paid last year.
Okay.
Would you make a motion to accept the refund from Snyder Lumber Company?
All in favor? Court to discuss and consider allowing private individuals to give golf lessons at the Scurry County Golf Course and items related thereto. I hope that Charlie will be here to mention this, but, so there's an individual who used to be a coach. I don't know all the details where this person was a coach that wants to do, golf lessons out at our, golf course. Don't know if y'all want to charge that person a fee or allow it, or
This person should pay what everybody else does that plays out there.
sure. Yeah, so if they would play, they would pay basically. What about if they're over there at the range
Teaching.
teaching? I mean,
It should bring more revenue to the county. If someone's out there gonna teach beginners, or even depending on their own ability, intermediates or whatever.
What is the range? Does it have a fee or does it come?
They,
So much for-
yeah, so much for balls.
Bucket of balls.
They pay for a bucket of balls, small, medium, or large, or whatever.
Like, by the balls? Because they shouldn't get any special treatment over people
Sure,
that pay.
sure.
No. And they'd be making money if they're gonna charge for instruction,
Right.
so they go buy the ball.
Yeah, that number will be between her and the students.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they all need to pay what everybody else does that plays out there when they play. Is the way I see it.
Would they be making sure that the customers or whatever would be aware that they are not, working for the county? They are not representing the county because it's a
Sure.
county golf course. This is an individual
They've
doing
been
individual
independent.
lessons.
Absolutely, yes, I would agree with that. Yeah, they're out there on their own, not as our representative.
Who's gonna be liable if something happens?
I think it's the same liability that we currently have out there, so, it's such as, because we have people out there playing golf all day long, yes.
And if this individual and the students pay like everybody else, there's no reason it'd be any different because
Right,
they'll be playing.
right.
Okay. So, if they're willing to do that, I don't have an issue with it because there's more money for.
So if they rent a card that or if they use them a card that counties, they pay for the card. If they're
They,
out there doing 9 holes, they pay for 9 holes. Whether they're playing or not.
if they're on the golf course, whether they're playing or not. Because I mean, you can't, that open up a can of worms if you let one do it.
Okay, I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, no. They, because I mean, if they're
So
on
if the instructor is going with the person, maybe it's what the judge is alluding to make sure that they're approaching the ball correctly and lining up correctly and everything, but they're not playing. The person playing would rent the cart and the the instructor would ride in that cart, I would think, and I wouldn't think they need to be paying for a green fee to do that
well,
if they're not actually playing,
right,
just instructing.
look,
Wouldn't that be?
Coach Dollar was here to see what how that, if somebody has done that, as to whether they are charged a green fee or not. Because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that. And I don't know that if we've had anybody teaching or not.
Back when 2Pro had it, we had a pro, but we don't have a pro, so
Right.
there's nobody been teaching it. But the pro would be a contract with the club,
Sure.
and they would be paid that way. I would think that if they're not playing and they're just instructing, that they would just have their membership fee, but they wouldn't have to pay to play on there if they're only instructing. If they are hitting the ball too and showing, then yes.
Right.
But I would think if they're just walking or riding, whatever, with the person who they're teaching, I wouldn't think that they would have to pay. That would be my opinion. And I'm a voting member of the board.
I wouldn't think so either, but that's reasonable. Because, I mean, that makes sense, I'm not saying.
So in that case, we put it to them in that manner, and then if there's a problem that arises, we can bring it back and straighten it up or get with Dar, make sure that she knows what she needs to do.
So I don't think we should be giving any favors to anybody that
No.
everybody else does it.
I agree.
I agree.
So what if you just charge them a flat fee? I mean, they're gonna charge whoever they're teaching.
Yeah.
Just charge them a flat fee.
Well, they have a membership, I assume, if they're gonna be playing golf at all, so that would be a fee that they would pay. But if you had 5 people come out and that you're going to instruct on the course, and every time you go out and around, you're paying a fee, a green fee, then you wouldn't make any money.
They're charging the people they're teaching the same way.
But they may not, I mean, so you believe that they should pay a green fee every time? That
I
they
didn't
go
say
out with
green
somebody
fee, I
else?
said a fee. I mean, it doesn't have to be a green fee.
Oh, okay. What kind of fee are we talking about?
I don't know.
Like an instructor's fee.
Yeah,
To the county? They should pay a fee to the county for using the golf course to instruct on?
Yeah.
And I guess the only way you could be fair about that is to know what they're gonna charge.
right.
And then, or you could say a percentage, 5%. Then you got more bookkeeping.
You wouldn't have to worry about if they're hitting the ball or not that way.
I just think this is where it's worded awful broad when it says items related thereto.
It was done that way intentionally.
Yeah,
So you could discuss it.
I think we really need Darla here to get her input, she represents the golf course.
So why don't we table it?
So
Or just no action until she can come?
Yeah, let's do that.
That work? That give us more time to think about it.
Ms. Summers?
So I may not be understanding, do you have to be a member of the Scurry County Golf Course to play?
No.
So
Anybody can go out there and pay for 9 holes, or 15 holes, or 36 holes. Yes, sir.
Just make them be a member of the golf course and then they can instruct.
That's what we were talking about as well. But I was thinking that Doug wanted to go beyond that because they're getting a fee to instruct. Is that right, Doug? You want them to be a member plus if we would get a certain percentage of their fees that they make.
Right.
I'd like to know what's common practice also.
Yeah.
Right. Let's table it until we get more information.
Sounds good.
We'll bring it back in. All right, court discuss and consider formally requesting the SCAD, Scurry County Appraisal District, to appeal, reverse, or nullify the ruling ARB regarding ad valorem taxes for Raptor J for tax year 2022. All right, so, I'm gonna narrow this down to what this is, without all the background, and I say all the background, so I'll give you some of the background. What it boils down to is that, Raptor J had, and I have no idea who this company even is, so hang on, Jackie.
Okay.
What it boils down to is that they were allowed a tax code 2525 hearing, in March. They had not paid their taxes prior to January 31st or February 1st, the uncontested or any of the taxes for 2022. According to Texas Tax Code 2526, a property owner who files a motion under section 2525 must pay the amount of taxes due on the portion of the taxable value of the property that is subject of the motion that is not in dispute before the delinquency date, or the property owner forfeits the right to proceed to a final determination of the motion. So, not saying that the ARB made a bad decision. It's just that there shouldn't have been a decision at that point. Am I understanding that correctly?
That's why I understand the law, yes.
Okay, Jackie.
Yes, sir. At the time, this began, was in December, our appraisers, industrial appraisers, put on an account they had previously taken off, due to the fact that the company was out of state. They put it back on, but they put it on with an old rendition value. And in doing so, the company was out of state, didn't see the notice, didn't see the bill until December, and for whatever reason. They contacted me and told me, yes, they did in fact have assets in 21 in our state, and they would be glad to provide that information by rendition, with the correction made for 22 so that it was fair and equal in terms of their assessment. That was all decided, and I agreed upon that, a verbal agreement in December. However, because they were out of state in several different states, it did delay the practice, and the actual 1/3 over appraisal was filed in January. However, at that time, everything was protested. So at that point, there really was no taxes owed because they didn't know what the value was gonna be. The rendition wasn't ready yet. They had to get all of their assets in the other states accounted for to be able to give, and that had to be back to January 1 of the year. So there really were no taxes, in fact, owed. I believe that's the argument that the taxpayer will make if the taxing units choose to sue the taxpayer based on the fact of a technicality really in that, well, they didn't pay an undisputed amount, but there was, everything was under dispute at that time.
They didn't file a rendition,
Until January, whenever they were able to get everything together.
but at that time they knew.
They did not
In
know what the
January.
taxes were that were owed. And at the point that they did file the rendition, they chose to go ahead and prepare to pay the full amount due rather than just that undisputed portion. All of that occurred after January 31st. And I'll be the first one to admit that the ARB has a very difficult job with the protests that take place in a timely manner. They go through training every year. We have a requirement that they get their continuing ed, and their main training when they first come on is very extensive. But there are so many different varieties of things that can happen. For instance, 2525 changes that happen after certification. And in those, there are very limited scenarios that can take place. And they did fall under a couple of different scenarios in December that I took into consideration. I could have, in fact, done a 2525H, just come up with a value, told them you pay those taxes, and it would have been settled. However, I wanted to see the rendition. I understood they were out of state and having to go back and look. They were a fairly new business to begin with in Scurry County. And so their understanding of the property tax code has really, it's taken a little while, just as it is everybody. That's no excuse. Ignorance is no excuse of the law. But I believe that in the process of hearing this 2525, there was some consideration that the ARB may have taken into account in the fact that they do hear late protests prior to certification. And, you know, in the whole process of 2525, I believe we need to do some additional training that I take responsibility for in providing them a checklist of this 2525 C, where we make a mistake, a clerical error, has to be done in a certain amount of time with a rendition filed timely. 2525D does not require a rendition. It can be a fourth over appraisal for a homestead or a third over appraisal for any other business. A 2525H can be where I join in with the taxpayer agreeing that I believe that value to be the case, in which the ARB would just sign off on it. They don't actually hear a protest. So it's a complicated matter. Everyone had a part in this, in things going wrong. I believe that certainly it was a unique circumstance because the company was out of state. The total taxes that they ended up paying with 2021 and 2022 was $140,000. They'll be asked to pay another $100,000, primarily taxes, about $70,000 in taxes with $30,000 in penalty and interest in this circumstance, of which we have to sue the taxpayer. I have to sue
Jackie,
the taxpayer.
You mentioned that they're out of state several times, but they have hired a company that is in the state of Texas to do all of this, correct?
At the end of December,
Okay.
yes.
So that person should know, I would think, that the Texas laws on that. You're stating that they're saying that there was zero value there also.
As far as we knew at the time, we had no proof of any value that
Okay,
was
but T.Y.
within,
Pickett had given a value on that, correct?
based on a 2-year-old rendition,
Okay.
yes.
So that's a value, correct?
It is a value, but I believed it to be erroneous
And it's
because it was not
At this time,
according
you
to the
feel it's
current time.
erroneous, but at the time, it was sent to Raptor J that this is your value, correct? This is your tax statement.
And I was not under the understanding that the rendition that they utilized, that they did not follow through in any other means other
Okay.
than to put on an old rendition.
I understand.
Otherwise, for the significant amount of value.
Okay,
I
so we're
would
talking about, and then by January, which is before January 31st, but before February 1st, they had a value, and they should have paid that uncontested amount at that time.
They really did
Or
not have a
contested.
value at that time, other than the erroneous value, because they were still getting all of their paperwork
Okay.
together, and we did not actually get the renditions until February 13th.
Okay.
But I just want to be sure that the court understands that what takes place is whenever the ARB makes a decision that's not according to what we believe to be the case, we file an appeal, which I've started that process. Then it has to be filed in district court. And the district court then, of course, the taxpayer is sued and the ARB will probably be, notified as well, and perhaps subpoenaed for
Sure,
the hearing.
That's part
And,
of that, but the tax code 2526 says that it has to be paid by January 31st.
The undisputed amount,
Correct.
yes.
In 2525, it states that as well. It
So-
says that it
And-
has to meet the requirements of 2526.
And we in fact have a lawsuit under play right now where the taxpayer does not believe that they have situs at all. And so they paid zero amount. They don't believe they owe anything. So that's what they took forward. And that's what our attorneys are dealing with. This is a common scenario in taxpayers saying, we dispute the whole value at this point and not paying. And it's a pretty common scenario, unfortunately. But the ARB, as I say, having a checklist saying the second thing after they introduce themselves and announce the suit, to say, you know, have you paid your undisputed taxes and what amount was that? And for somebody to say, no, I have not paid my taxes by the delinquency date, then to have stars with the codes there, everything possible. But I cannot tell the ARB what to do. They are an individual board.
Sure. They absolutely are, and they should be.
How do they know whenever there's taxpayer protest?
The 2525 is filed. Everything's filed, of course, in paperwork. And, you know, initially, you know, if you just have a regular protest, you get a protest form with your notice, or you ask for one, you know, if your value didn't change, but you know, want to go ahead and protest that for whatever reason. Whenever certification happens, there's only specific codes available which are under 2525, and there's different applications for each of those.
And so do someone that wants to protest their taxes, do they go to a member of the ARB?
Oh, no. In fact, if they go to the ARB, they have to recuse themselves. Their only means is going through us to file the application, and then we send that to file through the ARB, get a docket set up. It's essentially like a little mini court hearing scenario for each of those.
Is the ARB, is it open to the public for anyone? that
Oh,
wants
yes,
to go
sir.
and sit down?
Absolutely, yes.
And so you create a docket with those people that want to protest their values
Yes, sir.
and set up that meeting, and then the ARB knows it because of the meeting you set up. Or
Yes, sir, and they hear just the evidence presented.
so knowing that it was past the filing deadline, why would you set up a docket for ARB to even hear a case that shouldn't be heard?
Because that's the
Because of the law.
ARB's decision. I cannot refuse anybody the right to protest.
Even after the fact?
No, sir,
You can't tell that person, well, you're too late,
no.
according to law.
They can tell that person, you know, certainly, you know, the ARB can tell that person, you're too late, we are not going to hear this.
Who,
But they made the decision to hear the protest.
who advises the ARB?
They have an attorney that they're able to call anytime they choose to. We have one member that is serving his final year, and two others that are very new. And, you know, I believe that, you know, as new members come on, once again, you know, you have a different group of people that make a decision as that group. But I have no influence over them, and I cannot tell somebody, no, I refuse to accept your application for protest.
Janet, yeah.
My deal is as a tax assessor collector, I feel it's my duty to inform the entities that you have a loss of levy due to an ARB decision that really, I feel should never have been heard, because it states in 2525 that they're denied the right for a hearing if they're delinquent on their taxes. And that was from January till March. And they did pay the full amount of the tax for the 22 year, plus the penalty and interest that they owed
In March.
in March.
Yes,
The
prior
day
to
before
the
the hearing, the day before.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, they did pay it prior
But
to
the
hearing,
entities are
and that
out.
was one of the things that the agent told the ARB was these taxes have been paid in full, however, not prior to the delinquency date.
So they knew then that they were
However,
delinquent, they weren't paid before the
it was
delinquency date.
essentially glossed over, yes.
Each entity, the county's lost over $20,000. The college is over 11,000. City is 18.8 thousand. Snyder Schools is 39,000. And the hospital district is losing 10,000. I mean, that's just rough estimate over. I mean, I'm not disputing the fact that maybe the assets were not here. I don't know that. That's not mine. My deal is the fact that it's a loss of levy.
Yes, and there's additional levy that was put on for 21 that I could not have done had they not cooperated in giving us that information. And that was
But
not
that's 21
certified
years,
value.
21 years gone. I mean, we're looking at a budget of where the entities are working off of a budget that is tight.
Absolutely. And I totally
And
understand.
that kind of loss
These
is
25/25s are very serious business. And I only want to see that that process is improved, the education is improved on it, because the taxpayer does have numerous opportunities throughout the year to make these changes. However, even though 21 is over, if we find something omitted on the roll, we will go forward and put it on for the previous 5 years. And they have a year to pay those taxes. So I anticipate also you will need to refund that 2021. They will probably request that in writing if you do sue them, and they'll wait to pay that for the length of time that they have to pay it.
What do you
Make
mean
the laws
refund the
clear.
21?
They have a year.
They
to
have until
February.
February 1st of 24.
And you chose to apply that to.
Because I got an
22.
email from you asking me to do that.
Yes.
I assumed that
And that was
was
something that
ARB.
they had talked about with me, but it was not in writing. They had discussed it with me. This was all going to take place timely. And then come to find out, they did not get those taxes paid in January. And the minute that I found out, I told them, I can't do anything for you. And I don't believe the ARB can either. You're on your own. And that was where we were with that particular process.
Okay.
However, as I say, the 100,000 is equipment not in the state that can be proven to be otherwise, and penalty and interest that they did in fact pay that you would not have received had they paid by January 31st that you received, but there's also the 30,000 or whatnot that would be there with the.
They might have paid it, but we're giving it all back.
Oh, no, sir. You didn't give back the penalty on the undisputed portion.
Okay, Ms. Summers?
No.
Is this company still in business right now as of today?
I don't know anything about this company.
Well, I mean,
According to everything that we received, they were in business last year, and they have assured me that this year will not be that way, and they're working on the 23 rendition as we speak.
What do you think?
So like it's on the ARB board. So the law is very clear, very clear. And you can say new members didn't know what they were doing. That's no excuse. My opinion.
Well, we all make mistakes, there's no doubt about that, so, they really should have spoke with an attorney, someone that understood the law. And since they have one that is, there for them to visit with, I think I probably would have done the same thing if I hadn't this consultant attorney, and that's why that all of us, always, when there's a legal, matter that we're going to deal with, ought to be speaking to someone that has the training to give us the right answer as close as can. These laws are sort, now this one isn't, but the ones that we deal with daily are so unclear about what they truly mean that it takes someone to really know.
And I'm definitely going to encourage them to be sure and work with their attorney more so. As much as I can get them the information that they need without influencing the ARB, I'm going to do that prior to hearing so it doesn't affect one particular hearing as though I'm pushing them one way or the other.
In this case, I don't blame the ARB at all.
No.
I blame the tax professional that's supposed to have guided them to the truth and didn't do it evidently and put them beyond the delinquent date.
That's not our fault.
No, it's not our fault.
Well, I'll make a motion that we formally request the appraisal district to appeal the ARB decision.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, Jackie.
Yes, sir.
Court discuss and consider starting discussions with the city of Snyder to update the annual local agreement. Eli, thank you for coming today. Our interlocal agreement is dated 2006, I think. There's been little things added on, there's been some big changes as far as the law enforcement center goes, but it's just a different location more than anything. I don't know how close or how far we are in the interlocal agreement because we don't have numbers at this point on anything. And so, what I'd like to do initially is, Eli as an interim city manager and I sit down and look at everything and then present it to y'all at a later date to see where we stand, unless y'all want to do something different.
We need an interlocal agreement from 2006 is not going to do anybody justice in 2023. So,
Right. And what we need to remember is it's about dollar to dollar, not service versus service. It's dollar to dollar, so.
I have no problem with you and Eli getting together and hammering something out and bringing it back to us.
And this would just be initially where we stand and then where we want to go from
And
there.
then we can work on it from there. Just give us a guideline and
yeah, we gotta have something to start with.
then we can hammer it out. Because what we got is no place to start.
No, not at all.
Eli, any thoughts?
I agree. We need to get together and get some numbers together and compare it before we start on our side too.
You gotta know where you stand before you
Sure.
fix it.
Yeah, sure.
You need a motion for y'all to do that or anything?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do a motion that would be,
I'll make a motion that County Judge Dan Hicks and interim city manager Eli Torres will get together to come up with the interlocal agreement between city of Snyder, see where we stand, and present it back to the court at a later date.
Second.
all in favor? All right, thank y'all. Court to discuss and consider a request by Gene Burns for adding name to the Scurry, name or names to the Scurry County Veterans Memorial Monument. You probably have more information than I do. I got a brief synopsis.
I got a ton of it. There's some folks here in Scurry County that realized that there were a couple of men that did pass away in the Vietnam War that their names were not on the wall out here. They're just requesting that we put them on there. It's, I think they said $400 out here per name. Greg Graves told me this is something that we did, I think a couple of years ago, where we added some names in. I think that people that go out and serve our country and die for our country should be remembered. And so I would make a motion that we add these names that are in this list. That each one of us, I believe each one of us have it.
Richard Lee Russell and Reynaldo Silas Rodriguez.
Yes, sir.
I will second that motion. All in favor? Thank you. We do need to honor everyone that served.
I'll get with Greg and get that done when you can.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see right here. Donald Deere. He worked for me.
Oh dear.
I had no idea.
All right, court to consider approval of treasurer's monthly report, the personnel information report, and the first quarterly report. How are you doing today, Amanda? Oh, that's convenient.
Don't work.
That's why I'm drinking hot tea, so.
I'll ask, is there anything that y'all saw in there that needs to be discussed on any of the reports?
Hey, I'll
Give
do
me a
it.
minute, I'll come up with a question.
I appreciate it.
I didn't see anything.
I'll make a motion to accept and approve these reports.
Second.
All in favor? Line item transfers and budget amendments.
There's one line item transfer, no budget amendments. That is for JP one. Dues and memberships, 200 out of equipment under 1,000. And it's for the membership fees for the clerks at JP one.
Make a motion with supplement on transfers.
Second.
All in favor? Court to consider approval of accounts payable.
Accounts payable is $822,665 plus $15,294.30 for Citibank that we're waiting on a couple more.
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor? All right, court to convene in the executive session pursuant to personnel matters, section 551.04074 of the Texas Government Code will be discussed on the health department.